Hello, welcome to Junjiro's podcast. I'm host Justin, and today for our Canada's Day special, we're reviewing Alpha Flight. You gotta be kidding me! Which Alpha Flight is Marvel's premier Canadian superhero team, right? Which I think it's their only Canadian superhero team, if you don't count the Great Lakes Avengers, which I don't think any of them are Canadian. Because it was like what, like Spider-Man and like Hawkeye and Ant-Man. I don't know. So yeah, this came out in 2004, right? And it's written by Scott Lobdell with art by Clayton Henry, and this collects 6 issues. Right, here's the cover. And this story is about the Sasquatch, original member of Alpha Flight, um, team assembles a new team because the old team of Alpha Flight was captured by aliens, right? And he needs to assemble a new team to go get them, right? So the new team is Major Maple Leaf, who is the son of a Canadian superhero, who's also called Major Maple Leaf, who apparently helped Captain America and the Invaders fight the Germans in World War II. Never heard of Major Maple Leaf. That might have been a retcon, right? Other characters you have is Nemesis, who's an undead woman who's immortal thanks to her soul binding sword, which is called the Onyx Blade. Right? Her major character is that she's an anarchist. You got Yukon Jack, which that's not his new name. Sorry, that's not his real name. His real name is unpronounceable. Who is part of a hidden civilization in the northern part of Canada, because they reference how in Canada 90% of its population is along the border of the U.S. So like there's like so there's like 90% of 90% of the population of Canada lives on 10% of its land. So like 90% of Canada is like uncharted or whatever, apparently, according to this comic book, right? Which I know they don't use it, but like yeah, so like they say, oh, like, this guy was part of this, civilization that's hidden in the Great North, right? You have Woman Girl, who is the daughter of Puck, which is one of the members of Alpha Flight, and you have this old man, Rutherford Princeton the Third, who is an old man, who was an old man that was in a coma that Sasquatch woke up because he knew that this character had like hidden superpowers, and his superpowers turns out he can fly, he has super strength, and he has heat vision. So he's basically has like Superman powers, and he's like an old man. Doesn't even have a costume. The superhero name they give him at the end of the book is Sentinel, right? Sentinel, as in like with a C, like Sentinel as like 100 years, because he's like 90 years old, right? So here you can see they introduce Yukon Jack, who's protecting this deer from hunters. This deer who's been shot is very laid back, right? A little weird, yeah. It's funny because the first issue is here's Sasquatch in his human form. Sasquatch's character doesn't really make a lot of sense because he was they explained that he was he went to school on a football scholarship and became a scientist and experimented himself with gamma rays, and it turned him into Sasquatch, right? Which is like, what? This guy was a jock who became like a scientist? That makes no sense, right? But yeah, he tries to recruit the different members of his new Alpha flight and fails miserably. Here you see a woman girl whose name is Susa Liu, sorry, who's like a bartender who owns a bar in Montreal, right? Which this character I don't like so much. I mean, this character I kind of like her, but then I kind of don't. She constantly says "a," which really gets annoying. Because, guys, like, I'm Canadian. Let me know how many times I've said A in a video, right? I mean, once in a while, I'll say A at the end of something. But it's only because, like, I used to say it as a joke after watching, certain, like, stereotypical, like, Canadian shit that, Americans make fun of. So I would say it ironically, and then after I got so used to saying A as a joke that it started being a normal part of my vocabulary, right? So yeah, here you see Nemesis, where he kidnapped her and put like a bomb on her spine that's going to explode if she ever tries to hurt a member of Alpha Flight. Which she's kind of she's like an assassin anarchist, so that's why he's treating her with tough gloves, right? Which, by the way, they make a lot of being women jokes, which is pretty edgy, because he has to like once in a while he has to beat the crap out of her, right? And it's like, wow, man, that's very edgy jokes. Here you see him trying to. The Sasquatch going to meet Major Maple Leaf, who's giving a lesson on to kids, right? Like how to cross the street, and the kids respond, "Cross at the green, not in between." It's like, oh my god. This scene was pretty funny because he goes to see Major Maple Leaf and he's like, "Yeah, fuck this guy. I don't want him on my team. He's too cheesy, right?" And then he gets approached by the cops. He's like, "Hey, can I help you, buddy?" Hey, no, just observing." And the guy's like, "Observing what?" They think he's a pedo while staring at the kid. This genuinely made me laugh. Because he referenced back at that and he's like, "Motherfucker, I have a clearance level," and they're treating me like a fucking pervert. This was this genuinely made me laugh out loud, right? Here's the scene where, he goes to wake up Rutherford, who's in a coma, and he wakes up and immediately wakes up with superpowers, right? And immediately goes to the strip club. And he's like, "Yeah, thanks for letting me know, giving me superpowers, or awakening my superpowers. But yeah, I've been on a coma. He's been in a coma for 20 years, so he just wants to bang babes, right?" Yeah. So there's a really cool, funny dream sequence where he falls asleep at the bar, and like all the characters that he tried to recruit go to meet him at the bar. Right, and say, "Hey, we changed our minds. We want to join your team." And then he sees like Nemesis and woman girl stripping, and he's like, "What the fuck? This can't be real." And I must be dreaming. And he's like, "You think?" And he wakes up. He's like, "Oh, god damn it." So that's like the first issue. The first issue is him failing at recruiting the team, and then the second issue. He's able to do it, right? By using the boys' tactics, where he bribes Yukon Jack's father, who's like the chieftain. Here you see him. He just pays him like $100 bill, like stack of $100 bills to get Yukon Jack on his team, right? With Zuzia, he wins by winning in an arm wrestling competition. But if he lost, he would have been like a sex slave for a year. And she's like, "Oh, you're gonna look cute in a maid's uniform." But he cheats by turning into Sasquatch and knocking her out. Yeah. So yeah, okay. In the second half, he tells them why he wants to assemble a team, and the bad guys they're going to fight are this race of alien warriors called the Flotex, which are basically like the Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z. But they would beat the shit out and conquer each other on their planet until one guy's like, "Hey guys, instead of us slaughtering each other, why don't we go to other planets and do that to them instead of each other, right?" Which is funny because after he gives that speech, he gets knocked out by the guy he was fighting, and he's like, I almost hate to do that, but just because he's dead doesn't mean he didn't have a great idea. Who's with me? So they go around conquering other planets, right? Yeah. But it turns out, yeah, that the second half they go and they split up. They go to find the ship. They encounter the Mole Man has a cameo. They fight the Mole Man's monsters, right? And so in the finale of this book, they see the Guardians strung up, and they fight clones of the Guardians made by Photex DNA, because the Photex were dead, but they had the eggs that would gather genetic material. So the ship captured the original Alpha Flight, used their DNA to make these clones, which they all fight, right? Yeah. And then after the fight, they have this. They try to decide, okay, what do we do with all these alien eggs? Which Sasquatch and Yukon Jet, they have basically abortion debate at the end of the book, where some of the team want to just kill the eggs because they're part of this alien race that's going to wipe out humanity. But after a while, they decide, hey, abortion's bad, guys. Let's not kill the aliens, especially since there's Nemesis finds one of the alien eggs that hatch, and it's like a good kid, right? Yeah. So that's how the book ends. So what did I think about this book? The art was not the greatest, neither are the character designs, but Scott Lobdell's writing was top-notch here. With the comedy was great. The characters were likable and fun. And I really liked the team dynamic and the humor in the book, right? This was funnier than most Deadpool books I've read. Read, right? It's funnier than most Deadpool books and that I read. So I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. It was way better than I thought it was going to be, especially since I paid $12 for this, which it normally goes for $15 US, 24 Canadian. But yeah, this was a great book, and I can't wait to read more Alpha Flight books. Which, if you want to check out Alpha Flight, John Byrne did an Alpha Flight run that's supposed to be good, right? So yeah, that's it for this review, guys. My next review, I know I was supposed to review Marvel Voices, but I'm gonna wait till after Independence Day. Which for Independence Day, we're going to review a Captain America book, Captain America and Bucky, the life and times of Bucky Barnes. All right, that's